we'll be slowly starting this practice, knowing that more people might join later on, and also knowing that some people will be joining this practice by means of a recording. That typically happens with all of our practice sessions. So automatic captions have been activated in case you're relying on them or you find them useful, and you can always also turn them off if you want. And we will slowly be starting our first meditation session. And just as a reminder, we will be doing 3 practices today. We'll start with the practice of merging our mind with space, focusing on the spaciousness of our awareness and releasing everything deeply. That practice will also include an element of deep rest. Then we will progress to the practice of giving and taking, which combines loving kindness and compassion. And we will in particular focus on all the issues we think are worthy of attention right now in the world in terms of humans suffering or needing greater degrees of happiness, sanity, love, compassion, and so forth. And then for the third part, we'll do a little green Tara meditation, focusing on our own basic goodness as it expresses itself in this beautiful form of green Tara with her mantra and so on. So please find a comfortable position in your meditation seat or in your meditation nest, and choose whether to share your presence by having your camera on or to be in a little cozy practice bubble where it's just you, your camera is off, but you're still practicing with everyone else in the same space of compassionate attention. And the first thing that we can do to begin our practice is, once again, returning to our body, making sure we are comfortable enough, and then spending some time adjusting the different parts of the body by gently elongating the spine, lowering our shoulders, checking the position of our hands, of our chin, choosing what to do with our eyes, keeping them partially hooded or open or closed. Spending some time with our legs and even our feet and toes, making sure they are comfortable and they are capable of supporting our presence here. And then with all of that, allowing our awareness to descend into the space of the body, all the way down to the ground, where we can mentally touch the earth to gratefully acknowledge the support that it's providing for us. While at the same time, noticing the sensations in our feet and toes and the lower parts of our legs, initiating the process of relaxation, releasing tension while noticing the sensations. So we spend some time being aware of our feet and toes, of the lower part of our legs, of the area around the knee. And then our thighs, our pelvic floor, the area around our hips, releasing all the tension there. Or simply noticing the sensations. And if any tension remains, simply being aware of it for the time being. Then exploring our abdomen and our lower back. Our shoulders, and then with our awareness, slowly moving down each arm towards the elbow, eventually arriving at our hands and fingers. Releasing all the tension there so fully, our fingers become completely and naturally still. Then returning to the shoulders, exploring the sensations in our neck and throat. In our crown, and in our facial muscles. Softening these muscles, and with that softening all the muscles in the body to experience greater degrees of relaxation, stillness, and vigilance that is allowing us to not fall asleep, but to be vividly aware of the sensations and the experiences. And with that, allowing our body to breathe naturally, with no control from our side. Breathing in this uncontrived manner and releasing all the types of tension with each new exhalation. And bringing in greater awareness, greater focus with each inhalation. Balancing our mind through attending to the body. Then, having performed this physical settling and settling with regards to our breath and our speech, we allow our mind to settle down in a beautiful aspiration for this specific meditation and for our contemplative life in general. Revisiting mentally our highest psychological or spiritual aspirations, and reestablishing those aspirations as the reason for why we're practicing right now and in general. And so, for instance, if our main goal for practicing is the aspiration to become a Buddha, to fully wake up for the benefit of all beings, right now we're breathing life into that resolve, very gently strengthening it, making it stronger in our field of awareness. Weaving it into every practice that we will do later, as a red thread that unites them all. And then with that, moving on to the main part of this specific meditation, where we allow our body to continue releasing tension and all the deliberate types of movement, we'll allow our body to rest in stillness. We'll allow our speech to be silent and our breath to move naturally. And as for our mind, we allow it to experience spaciousness. Greater spaciousness than we perhaps normally feel. And to do that, we remind ourselves that mental spaciousness is quite like the physical space around us, in that visually right now we could be focusing on the different pieces of furniture or on the space that's holding them, the physical space. And similarly, with regards to our mind, we could focus on individual mental events, thoughts, images, wishes, aspirations, fantasies, stories, and so on. Or we could try to reconnect with the space that's holding them all more deeply. And although we say try, the main thing to do is to simply continue releasing our interest with regards to these different mental phenomena, these different mental events. And so as we're resting on the ground of spaciousness and clarity itself, if we want to use the out-breath as an invitation for greater release, we can simply breathe all these thoughts, all the images, all the stories, and so forth out with the exhalation. Of course, the main thing we're actually releasing here is our grasping. And the more we do that with each new cycle, the more our mind merges with its own spacious quality. And that's where we can find a deep sense of rest. So our body is still breathing naturally and is resting there. Our speech is still silent. And with our mind, we're still continuously releasing everything into space. And whenever we catch ourselves getting distracted, when our awareness is hijacked by any particular story or image or sensory object, we notice that, and then we just release it all into spaciousness. Noticing when the habitual grasping has once again arisen, and then releasing it all with gentleness and care, using the exhalation as an invitation, or just releasing continuously. And then out of that spaciousness, although of course we could continue resting with it and training in the practice of merging our mind with space, out of that spaciousness for now, returning to the appearances of our body, the experiences of the body, the sensations in the tactile field, noticing those. And then introducing a tiny bit of movement to the body to conclude this short session and to take. So we are taking a 1 minute short break indeed. Please take good care of your body by moving around, stretching if you need to, drinking some water or tea, or really doing anything else that might be necessary to make sure we're perfectly comfortable. And then in just about a minute, we will go into our second practice, which will be on the theme of giving and taking, combining loving kindness and compassion, and focusing on our own discomfort and the suffering in the world at large, of course. And so slowly, arriving at a comfortable stationary position once again. And even if we were doing the previous meditation in the upright position, now we can switch to the supine position, vice versa, as long as we're comfortable and our body feels like it's resting in a state of stability and relaxation. So adopting such a position and then allowing our mind to, once again, descend into the space of the body. And while observing the sensations in the body, we can once again perform the necessary step of adjusting the different parts of the body comfortably, making sure the entire body is stable, still, and relaxed. But also, right there in that tactile field, we can mentally touch the earth that's holding us, noticing the sensations of firmness and stability, and being grateful for the support that the five elements are providing us with. Feeling our connection to the earth, being aware of the fact that our material body is an extension of the earth and its energy. And in that spirit, allowing our breath to flow naturally. Allowing the body and the element of air to take care of us by rocking us gently. Because each time this breathing energy, we can use that tactile wave to release all the unnecessary types of tension from our feet and toes and legs in general. From our pelvic floor, our abdomen, our lower back, and eventually our chest. Our shoulders, upper arms, forearms, hands, fingers. Our face, and eventually our entire body once again. And then with our body still resting, still breathing naturally, still enjoying the process of breathing perhaps, we revisit our highest aspirations for practice to strengthen that motivation, to breathe life into that resolve. I am doing this practice in order to, and then stating that for ourselves, reestablishing that wish, that aspiration. But then on top of that, spending a few moments with a beautiful mental state known in Tibetan as Möpa, or appreciation. In this case, extending it to the unique opportunity we have right now to cultivate our wisdom and compassion with a community of like-minded people. We have the body that's allowing us to do that. We have the leisure, the skills, the equipment, and the support of others. What an incredibly rare opportunity. Enjoying that, appreciating that, to supercharge our practice with this appreciation. And from there, progressing to the practice of giving and taking itself by following the instruction given in the 7-point mind training, where it says, begin with yourself. And so first, thinking of ourselves, and perhaps if we have visual imagery available to us, even imagining ourselves in the space in front, or simply thinking of ourselves as a person and recognizing that this person, just like everyone else, wants to be happy, wants to be free from suffering, has the amazing potential known as basic goodness or Buddha nature, and is temporarily experiencing all types of confusion, tunnel vision, along with the associated emotional states of loneliness, frustration, and so forth. So at the same time, we can make space for the beautiful potential, for the luminous, spacious beauty deep inside, and for the temporary confusion and suffering that this being, that is ourselves, might be experiencing right now. So this empathetic awareness, this wise awareness that we're applying to ourselves, then becomes the tool that we use for taking and giving. With compassion, we want to take all the suffering away from this being, along with all the confusion and other causes of suffering. With loving kindness, we want to give, generously give causes of happiness and happiness itself. And so we imagine that from this image of ourselves in front of ourselves, we take all the causes of suffering and all the types of suffering, extracting them from the body-mind complex, from this bubble or bundle of interdependent threads, extracting that, drawing that towards ourselves, letting it pass through our system, and then allowing it to dissolve without a trace in our heart, where we see the spacious, luminous, basic goodness as our true nature. And so with compassion, taking, removing suffering and its causes. And dropping them into the luminous space. If we wish, that can be combined with the in-breath. And then while still doing some of the taking, adding the element of loving kindness, which manifests as giving. And so from the same luminous spaciousness in our heart and the same basic goodness, manifest boundless symbols of happiness and its causes. Such causes as wisdom or common sense, loving kindness, compassion, generosity, mindfulness. But also the outer causes, including physical and mental well-being or health. Outer support, love, respect, and so on. And all of that is generously offered to the form of ourselves, this form that we're imagining in the space in front. And so with self-compassion, we're removing suffering. With self-loving kindness, we're offering happiness and its causes. Conjoining this with the process of breathing, or just doing it in steps that flow naturally. But being very gentle with it, not forcing the breath in any way. And of course, using our imagination to see what would my body and mind feel like, look like, appear like once suffering is removed, once the causes of happiness are cultivated. But then extending this to others, and this is where we can first think of a larger group of beings. Other practitioners joining us in this practice, for example, or those in close physical proximity to us, all the people in the same building, or all the beings in the same area geographically, or a particular social, ethnic, religious, or any other kind of group in this world. Bringing our mind to all these beings and first recognizing them as beings who want to be happy and free from suffering, who have the amazing potential for wisdom and compassion, but are suffering from confusion right now, and therefore from multiple types of suffering, discomfort, and unease. And yet the potential is there. So what if I could provide the cooperative conditions for these beings to truly flourish? If I could truly bring them to genuine happiness, to truly liberate them from suffering, now and for always, simply by taking it all upon myself, simply by giving all that I have to give, wouldn't I do that? Or at least, wouldn't my true nature want to do that? Given that it's completely fearless and boundlessly loving. So it's from this true nature and its vantage point that we're once again taking and giving now with regards to this group. Extracting the suffering, letting it pass through our system in any symbolic form that we might want to use, pass through our system and then drop into that luminous spaciousness in our heart, dissolving without a trace. Doing that with compassion. And with loving kindness, offering the opposite of these causes of suffering, offering the causes of happiness, love, wisdom, understanding, positive interdependence of every kind. Pouring it all out into these beings. and by extension into the rest of reality. And then while doing that, very gently allowing our awareness to extend towards a greater scope of beings, and then slowly, eventually all beings. They're not that different from this group or from me, myself. Everyone wants to be happy and free from suffering. Everyone needs these cooperative conditions. If only everyone could feel truly loved and truly embraced by compassion, truly respected, truly cared for at all times. And so offering all we have to offer, all that we would like to offer, with the exhalation, if we wish, or simply during the phase of giving. And then removing all the types of confusion and frustration when we perform taking. And then for a few moments, imagining that everyone, as a result of our practice, has become happy and free from suffering, including ourselves. And then simply releasing our mind into spaciousness once again, to rest without a reference point. And then very briefly dedicating the energy of this practice to our highest aspirations. Finding the appearances of our body and introducing some gentle movement to the body as we conclude this short session to take another short break. So once again, another 1-minute break to take care of ourselves. And then we'll do the final short session, this time focused on green Tara as a reflection of our potential. And for that, I'll replace my tired and old mug with a beautiful image of Tara. So some people, of course, are good with visualization and they like to visualize, or they find it quite easy. Some others just prefer to use their visual consciousness while focusing during such a practice. Either option is completely fine. The main thing, of course, is the feeling that arises within us and the thoughts that we think as we establish what are the qualities that green Tara represents. How do I connect to these qualities? How do I activate them in my body, speech, and mind, and so forth? So that's what we'll focus on. But we'll start with the same simple steps of establishing stillness, silence, and spaciousness. So let's find a comfortable stationary position first, and then spend some moments adjusting our position, adjusting the different body parts. And then finding an experience of stillness deep in the body. The earth that's holding us is, relatively speaking, still. Experientially, it's not moving too much. And similarly, deep within our bodies, there is a deep type of spaciousness that is still. Even though there's also the movement associated with the process of breathing, with the process of heart beating, and so on. So into that stillness, we release all the physical tension from our fingers, from our face, from our toes, from our abdominal muscles. Releasing it all with each exhalation. Allowing the process of breathing to take care of us, to take care of our nervous system by soothing it, of our mind by helping us release rumination, of our body by bringing in deep rest that's so crucial for our physical well-being. And reminding ourselves that this very element of air that's moving through us is symbolically represented by the form of green Tara. Her green color stands for the element of wind. And so even by breathing mindfully, we're already reconnecting to her qualities of dynamic equilibrium. Mentally revisiting our highest aspirations or contemplative practice in general of any kind. And of course, we're doing this specific session together. Strengthening that resolve once again with each new exhalation. And with that as the foundation for our practice, allowing our body to continue breathing while our mind explores the domain of imagination, or creative luminosity, as we could describe it in Buddhist terms, where we find ourselves, we imagine ourselves, or we feel ourselves being in a beautiful environment, full of natural beauty. imagining ourselves in Tara's Pure Land, which is said to be a giant, pristinely beautiful forest known as the array of turquoise leaves, Ulokopa in Tibetan. Even if we find it hard to imagine, how would we feel, or how do we feel when we are in a beautiful forest-like environment, feeling that, where everything is vibrant, full of color green that represents that dynamism, that dynamic quality? And in this spacious forest-like environment, where nothing is crammed, but everything is beautifully spacious and open and inviting, in the space in front of us, on a beautiful multicolored lotus flower and a moon disk, appears Green Tara herself. Her right leg is extended, her left leg is drawn in, representing the union of dynamic activity and contemplative stillness. Out of contemplative stillness flows the skillful activity that she represents. Her left hand is at her heart in the gesture of taking refuge in the three jewels. And between her thumb and her ring finger, she holds the stem of a beautiful blue utpala flower blooming next to her left ear. So her left hand is granting us refuge, freedom from fear. But her right hand is on her right knee, palm up, in the gesture known as the gesture of supreme generosity. And with these two gestures, she's reminding us, if you're afraid, give more. Give more love, more wisdom, more compassion, more attention, more caring. And her beautiful face is serene and somewhat playful. With her eyes, she's looking at us and all the other sentient beings at the same time, holding us all in her boundless awareness that is non-judgmental and yet encouraging. She's encouraging us to continue our path towards full awakening. And yet at the same time, she's fully okay with us being who we are for now. And so we can spend some moments resting in Tara's energy of affection, or tsewa, tenderness. At all times, we are embraced by that quality of simply tender caring. And we could either say it is coming from Tara's side and the side of all the other Buddhists and our teachers in this life and in all the other lives, or we could equally say this tenderness is flowing from our own basic goodness, being a natural quality of that basic goodness, on par with luminosity and emptiness. How would it feel to be embraced by Tara's love? To feel it like a giant cloud around ourselves, to feel it in every cell in the body, in every corner of our mind, and to feel it at all times, never therefore being bored or lonely, because we are never abandoned. And so, breathing naturally, we can allow that feeling of tenderness to become more intense, more strong in our body and in our mind. At the same time, offering it to everyone else, knowing that Tara is holding everyone in the same tender embrace that comes from within, from our own basic goodness that is inseparable from Tara. And then one of the simplest prayers to Tara, received in a pure vision by the great master Dujam Lingpa, says, Tara, liberating mother, you know me. Protect me from all the fears and all the types of suffering. We invite Tara's activity by encouraging ourselves to slowly move away from fear and all the causes of fear, suffering and all the causes of suffering. And we invite Tara's inspiration for that. And so inviting all the qualities that we feel we might need for that: greater wisdom, greater compassion, greater courage, greater generosity. And imagining that from Tara's body, from her 3 centers of her midbrow, her throat, and her heart, flow streams of light that enter us, blessing us with those qualities fully. And as we're doing that for just a few moments, if we wish, we can even recite or chant Tara's mantra, Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Soha, which is a 3-fold invitation. Om represents Tara's body, speech, and mind. And the 3 repetitions of her name, or of the Sanskrit root tra, Tare, Tu Tare, and Ture, are the invitation for Tara to protect us from suffering, from the causes of suffering, and in particular from disease. And so we're inviting that type of interdependence into our being. Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Soha. And for a little while, if we want, we can recite the mantra quietly. or silently in our mind, or just by moving our lips. And then allowing even the sound of the mantra to dissolve into silence. And it's in that silence that we invite Tara to fully activate our basic goodness by merging with us. So we first invite her to our crown, where she temporarily alights, facing the same direction that we do. And then she melts into a cloud of green light that absorbs into us. And we feel a sense of union between our body, speech, and mind and Tara's body, speech, and mind. Resting once again in that luminous spaciousness. And out of that spaciousness, we reemerge with a powerful aspiration, with a powerful wish. May every being right now experience their Tara nature. May they come in contact with all the qualities of Tara within themselves, within their communities, and within this reality at large. And may they bring these qualities of Tara to everything that they do, so that no one ever acts with confusion, and everyone always acts with wisdom and compassion that are inseparable. And because that fusion of wisdom and love, wisdom and compassion would be infinitely skillful, it would help us build a world of nonviolence and interdependence. So we conclude this practice with a beautiful aspiration that's on the slide, the aspiration of nonviolence. May the precious conduct of nonviolence arise where it has not arisen. Where it has arisen, may it never wane, but continue to increase forevermore. And then return to our body, notice its experiences, and we gently reactivate the body by doing a little bit of movement, moving our fingers, moving our toes, smiling if we wish to. Returning to our shared space to say thank you to each other, to say goodbye, and to continue practicing with our beautiful Tara nature on our own. So from my side, deep bows of gratitude to all of you for joining us today, and deep bows of gratitude also to those who will be using this as a recording. It's so beautiful to have this opportunity to revisit these practices and to think of these qualities together with others. So thank you very much. And of course, we are hoping to have more of these practices soon enough. There's already one scheduled for November, which will be on the theme of Eco-Dharma. And because these sessions are a free offering from the Contemplative Consciousness Network, if anyone wants to support our work, please use the link. Sometimes people experience some tech troubles with it. We're working on fixing that. But if you do come across any of them, please just contact us through the website and we'll try to fix it in no time. And in general, wishing you all a beautiful week and hoping to see all of you soon. Thank you so much.